How do you increase your visibility in the workplace? Visibility goes both ways. It's about amplifying your visibility so that people notice you, but it's also about you having visibility of the key stakeholders that you need to engage with and be around in order for you to be successful and to progress in your careers. So part of visibility is about being really clear on your value and the expertise that you bring, but it's also about who are the key stakeholders that you need to build relationships with so that when the opportunities come up, they know that they need to recommend you. So then the next question is, when you are in front of those key stakeholders, what do you say about yourself? And many of the leaders that I've worked with in the past throw away golden opportunities to maximize their visibility and really communicate their expertise because they don't know how to answer two key questions. So one of the quick key questions that leaders don't know how to respond to is the "how are you" question. So they'll say, "Yeah, I'm fine." Or they'll say, "Oh, look, really, really busy." Or they might say, "Oh, it's been such a stressful time." And this is a golden opportunity for that leader to be able to illustrate their expertise to that senior stakeholder that they're talking to. The second time that people throw away golden opportunities to really elevate their visibility and have people appreciate their expertise is an answer to the "what do you do" question. So what people usually say when they're being asked, "What do you do?" is they'll simply revert back to their title. They might say where they work, or they might add on a little ingredient, which is how long they've been doing what they do. And that information tends to go in one ear and out of the other because it's not particularly interesting. What is interesting is what people do on a day-to-day. So to help people communicate and explain what they do on a day-to-day, I've created a really simple model called the rocket pitch model, which breaks down what you do in a very simple structure. So what you do is you identify the person that you're talking to and you think, well, what are they interested in? Who are they? Why should they be interested in engaging with me? And then you think, well, on that basis, what project have I worked on recently, or what project am I working on right now that is of interest to that person? So then rather than saying in response to the "how are you" question, "Oh, I'm fine," or rather than in response to the "what do you do" question, simply giving your title, "This is what you do." So you say, "I've been working on a really interesting project recently. And when we started this project, these were the challenges that we were facing." So you help them engage with the challenges that you were facing at the start of the project. And then you move on to the steps that you took throughout that project. So maybe what were the 3 key steps that you took during that project that overcame the challenges? What makes this even more engaging is if you can bring in a statistic or a piece of evidence that demonstrates the before and the after. So for example, if you're thinking about a campaign to raise awareness, you can say awareness at the start of the project was 20%. And then you can say at the end, in terms of the results, we had increased awareness by 50%. So awareness has increased phenomenally as a result of the project. Another key tip is when you're talking about a project that you've worked on is to make sure that you're weaving in a selection of eyes. And what I mean by that is generally when people are talking about projects, they're saying we did this and we did that and the team was amazing, and they want to give credit that is due to the people who have contributed. But if you as a leader are only giving credit to your team, how are your audiences, how is the key stakeholder going to be able to know the role that you particularly played? So the key point here is to make sure that when you're talking about a project that you have led, you use the word "I." I was particularly proud of the team because they delivered the project in record time. Or I was inspired by a conversation that I had with a senior stakeholder that gave me this insight, which meant that we were able to accelerate the project. So make sure you're building in the word "I." And so, in doing that, in using the rocket pitch model, what you're doing is clearly and concisely evidencing your expertise rather than needing to be the person who says, hey, let me give you all the reasons why I'm amazing.